WZ Tales is back with another story. This time, we follow a man whose girlfriend uses a fake Marilyn Monroe quote to excuse destroying his property. As you listen, think about the moment where you would have said enough. My ex-girlfriend said, "If you can't handle my worst." I replied, "Then I'll see you in court." Then I called the police, watched her get arrested, cut her off for good, and thought it was over until detectives found 2 other men with the same quote, the same bat, and the same pink paint. I had been dating Kayla for about 10 months. We moved in together 4 months ago into my apartment in Denver. I work IT support for a healthcare company. A lot of on-call shifts, but I am studying for my systems admin certification, so the extra money helps. Kayla is a barista and does TikTok content on the side. A lot of self-love and bad energy talk. When we first started dating, everything felt great. We went hiking around Red Rocks, had long conversations about life and goals. That early relationship rush where you think you have found your person. Looking back, that sweet start made it very easy to ignore what came next. Around month 3 or 4, things started to shift. She began to test me. She would ghost me for a few hours, then act like I was crazy for being worried. She would cancel plans at the last minute with vague excuses. She created drama out of nothing, then got upset when I did not react the way she wanted. And when I did get upset about the pattern, she started breaking small things. A coffee mug thrown at the wall. My gaming mouse slammed on the desk until buttons stopped working. A poster of my favorite band ripped in half. Nothing huge, nothing that screamed run right now, but strange enough that a part of me knew something was off. This was the first red flag I ignored. Many people tell themselves it is stress or trauma or a phase when the pattern is already clear. Every time she would end those episodes with the same line, "If you cannot handle me at my worst, you do not deserve me at my best." She had that quote everywhere. Printed on poster board above our bed, on her phone case, in her TikTok bio, tattooed on her left wrist in tiny cursive, the full Marilyn Monroe signature and everything. When I pointed out the broken things, she would hold up the tattoo like it was a permission slip. My friends kept telling me this was red flag city. I kept defending her. "She just has childhood trauma," I would say. "When she is at her best, she is really sweet." I thought I was being patient and understanding. In reality, I was being trained to accept worse and worse behavior. Then came Thursday. I was on call for a major system outage at one of our hospital clients. This was serious. Patient records, scheduling systems, everything down. I took the light rail to work because I knew I might have to stay late and did not want to drive home exhausted. Before I went into the war room with my team, I texted Kayla. Going into an emergency call for the hospital system, might not be able to reply fast. Over the next 90 minutes, she sent me about 25 messages anyway. It started with "Hey baby" and "What are you up to?" and escalated to "Why are you ignoring me?" "I know you are tired of me," and then full caps lock insults. At one point, I accidentally opened a notification while screen sharing with my boss, so one message showed as read. I could not reply. We were trying to fix a system that hospitals literally depended on. When the incident finally resolved 2 hours later, I grabbed my phone. 25 texts, 10 missed calls. The last message said, "Okay, watch me at my worst then." My stomach dropped. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail, I texted, "Just finished the outage, still at work." "Are you okay?" No response. I took the light rail home around 10 that night. I was exhausted from the outage and from the stress of seeing all those messages. When I walked from the station into my apartment complex parking lot, I saw a small crowd of neighbors standing around, pointing toward my usual parking spot. They were pointing at my car. My 2021 gray Toyota Camry, the car I had just finished paying off 3 months earlier, the car I detailed every month because I was proud of it, was covered in neon pink spray paint. The hood said, "Text me back" in huge dripping letters. Both side mirrors were smashed to pieces, glass all over the ground. One headlight was cracked open, the inside parts visible. Pink paint ran down the doors and windows like someone had sprayed the whole thing without stopping. On the passenger side, in smaller letters, it said, "Answer me." Empty spray paint cans, a wooden bat, and some rags were on the ground next to the car like someone dropped them and walked away. Sometimes people say they saw red. In that moment, I saw pink. Just pink everywhere and the reality of what had happened. I sat in my car for a full minute, engine still running, just staring. This could not be real. This looked like a scene from a movie. One of my neighbors, an older woman named Mrs. Patterson, came up to my window. "A young blonde woman was out here screaming and hitting your car about 30 minutes ago," she said quietly, like she was afraid Kayla might come back. She was yelling about phones and loyalty. We did not know whether to call the police. We thought maybe it was something you would handle. I got out, took photos and video from every angle. The paint was still slightly wet. Then I called the non-emergency police line. "My girlfriend just vandalized my car. I want to file a report." The officer who showed up, Officer Green, whistled when he saw the car. "She is very committed to her color palette," he said. I showed him the texts, showed him photos of Kayla, pointed out the MM-style signature in the pink paint that matched how she signed messages. I told him about her tattoo. Then he asked the question that changed everything. "Do you want to press charges? With this amount of damage, we are talking potential felony territory." I did not hesitate. "Yes, and I want to end this relationship tonight." Some people will say that calling the police is too much. But when someone picks up a bat and goes for your car, that is no longer a relationship argument. That is a crime. So I sat on my apartment steps at midnight while officers photographed my car like a crime scene because it was one. And I kept thinking about that quote above our bed. If this was her worst, I did not want or need her best. The next morning, I met with a detective, Detective Alvarez. She took my statement, looked at my photos and the messages, and gave me a rough estimate based on standard repair costs. Between the paint, the body work, the broken mirrors, the cracked headlight, and the interior cleaning, we were looking at over $2,300. In Colorado, property damage over $1,000 can be charged as felony criminal mischief. My insurance would cover most of it, but I still had a $500 deductible. If Kayla was convicted, I could get restitution for my deductible and other costs. That afternoon, Detective Alvarez and Officer Green went to my apartment to question Kayla. I gave them my key and waited outside. I did not want to be in the same room. When they knocked, Kayla was in the middle of filming a TikTok using one of those crying filters. The caption was, "Pav, your man calls the cops on you for being passionate." When she saw the actual cops, she deleted the video and switched to rage. They asked if she knew anything about the vandalized car. "That was art therapy," she said. "I was expressing myself." Then Alvarez pulled out a receipt from Home Depot. Pink spray paint and a wooden bat, bought earlier that day. They had already pulled the matching footage from security cameras. Kayla froze for a second, then tried to start the quote. "If he cannot handle me at my worst." Officer Green cut her off, deadpan. "Marilyn Monroe never actually said that quote, ma'am." Kayla looked confused. "Yes, she did. It is on Pinterest, it is on Tumblr, it is everywhere." "Pinterest is not a legal source," Green said. Kayla started crying, saying I had emotionally abused her by ignoring her for 2 hours, that she had abandonment issues, that this was all my fault. Alvarez said, "You have every right to go to therapy. You do not have the right to cause over $2,000 in property damage." They arrested her right there. The charges would likely be upgraded once they had the official repair estimate. As they walked her out, she screamed in my direction. This is what happens when a real woman has emotions. You are all afraid of strong women. A real woman has emotions. A real woman does not need to smash cars to show them. That is not emotion. That is destruction. Later, one of my neighbors gave the police footage from his security camera. He lives in a mobile home across from the parking lot and put up a camera because he was worried about theft. The video showed everything. Kayla pulling out the spray paint, arguing with herself, methodically painting my car, smashing the mirrors, taking a selfie with the damage, then walking away. Detective Alvarez was pleased. With the footage, the texts, the receipt, the pink paint, and my testimony, the case was almost airtight. She also suggested I file for a temporary restraining order. I did. Kayla was now not allowed near me, my workplace, or my apartment. That night, I Googled the Marilyn Monroe quote. I learned it came from some random internet blog that someone later slapped Marilyn's name on for a Pinterest graphic. Marilyn Monroe never said it. My ex-girlfriend had based her entire personality around a fake quote. Days later, Kayla had her arraignment. By then, the official damage estimate came in at $2,340. The charge was upgraded to felony criminal mischief. Her public defender tried to get low bail by arguing she was a young woman with abandonment trauma. The judge set bail at $7,500. Kayla did not have the $750 needed to post 10%, so she stayed in county jail. I sat in the back of the courtroom and watched her shuffle in wearing an orange jumpsuit. This was someone I had shared a bed with, someone I once thought I could build a future with, now standing there as a felony defendant. Part of me felt sad. The bigger part remembered my car dripping in pink paint and felt something closer to relief. You can feel sorry that someone's life is hard and still choose not to let them destroy yours. A few days after that, Detective Alvarez called me with news that made everything bigger. We found 2 other victims, she said. Same pattern, same quote, different states. After Kayla's arrest hit local Denver news, 2 men from out of state contacted the authorities. Victim 1 was an ER doctor in Arizona. We will call him Dr. Benson. He had dated Kayla about a year and a half earlier when she lived in Phoenix. One night, he was in the middle of emergency surgery and could not check his phone for 3 hours. When he finally left work and walked to his car, both mirrors were smashed. Answer your phone was keyed into his hood. There was a note on the windshield. If you cannot handle me at my worst, you do not deserve me at my best. The damage was around $1,100. He filed a police report, but by the time they investigated, Kayla had already moved to New Mexico. They did not follow it across state lines. Victim 2 was a tutor in New Mexico named Jesse. He had briefly dated Kayla. After 3 weeks, she asked him to bring her to his sister's wedding. He said no because they barely knew each other. When he got home that night, his patio glass door was cracked. Red paint was splattered all over it. There was the same note with the same quote. He reported it, but she moved again soon after to Colorado. The prosecutor in my case decided to use both prior incidents as pattern evidence. 3 states, 3 men, 3 damaged properties, same bat, same quote, same way of turning hurt feelings into broken glass. When you see the same behavior repeated with different people, it stops looking like drama and starts looking like a plan. The trial happened later. Both Dr. Benson and Jesse flew in to testify. Dr. Benson went first. He described a 14-hour shift in the ER, performing emergency surgery on a car accident victim, hands literally inside someone's body. He could not check his phone. When he got outside at 2 in the morning, exhausted, he found his car wrecked and that note on the glass. He said he had felt embarrassed, like maybe he had done something to deserve it. Jesse testified next. He said he had been seeing Kayla for only 3 weeks when she pushed to come to his sister's wedding. He thought it was too soon for a family event. When he said no, he came home later to a damaged patio door and paint all over it, with the same line about worst and best. Watching them tell basically the same story I had lived was unsettling and strangely comforting. Each of us had ignored her for a short time or said no to a very reasonable request. And each time, she turned to destruction and held up that quote like it was a free pass. Kayla testified in her own defense. She said she thought the quote was real, that everyone posted it, that she believed it was about empowering women. The judge, a woman in her 50s with a calm voice, asked her, "Do you believe empowerment means vandalizing other people's property?" Kayla did not have a real answer. In closing, the prosecutor said something simple. Even if Marilyn Monroe had said this quote, which she did not, that still would not give the defendant permission to cause thousands of dollars in damage every time she felt ignored. There is no part of Colorado law that says if you feel abandoned, you are allowed to vandalize property. The jury deliberated for about an hour. Guilty. Kayla started crying when they read the verdict. Her public defender tried to comfort her, but she kept saying, "This is all because of a stupid quote. This is so unfair." It was not because of a quote. It was because of the choice to pick up a bat again and again. After the verdict, the victim services coordinator pulled me aside. She said sentencing would happen in 2 weeks. With 3 victims, a clear pattern, and no real remorse, she expected real jail time. I walked out of the courthouse exhausted. 3 men, 3 states, 3 sets of repairs. At the center of it all, a sentence Marilyn Monroe never said. 2 weeks later, Kayla was sentenced to 12 months in county jail, plus 3 years of probation and restitution. I thought that would be the end. It was not. 2 days after sentencing, I got a Facebook message from someone named Brittany, who said she was Kayla's best friend from her TikTok days. The message was long. She said I had ruined Kayla's life over one mistake, that I was heartless for pressing charges. She claimed Kayla was having panic attacks in jail, and that if I had any humanity, I would write a letter to the judge asking for a reduced sentence. She talked about how Kayla was a good person who volunteered, loved animals, and how I had taken advantage of her mental health struggles. She described Kayla as someone who just loves too hard. It read like a script. I did not respond, but Brittany was not done. Next day, more messages came in from different accounts. Friends from Kayla's online circle called me cruel and controlling. One sent a 10-minute voice message crying about how Kayla only needed therapy, not jail. Another sent Kayla's old TikToks as proof that this is just who she is. One guy named Tyler said I was pathetic for calling the cops on a woman, and that real men handle relationship problems without involving the law. At that point, it was clear. The story they had been told was that I was a bitter ex trying to ruin her life over nothing. Sometimes the hardest part of leaving an unhealthy person is dealing with the people who are still buying the show. Instead of replying, I forwarded everything to Detective Alvarez. She told me something else. Kayla's friends had also been harassing Dr. Benson and Jesse. Dr. Benson simply blocked them. Jesse did something different. He replied to one of them. He wrote, "If Kayla is such a sweet person who just loves too hard, why did she vandalize 3 different men's cars or homes in 3 different states using the exact same method that is not love? That is a pattern of criminal behavior." Then he sent screenshots of all 3 incidents side by side. The notes, the paint, the damage reports. According to Jesse, the group chat went silent after that. They had no idea about Arizona and New Mexico. Kayla had only told them her version of me. After his message spread, the harassment stopped. I called Jesse to thank him. We ended up talking for an hour. He told me, "For a year, I thought maybe I was wrong for not taking her to my sister's wedding. But seeing the pattern, I realized she would have found some other reason to explode. It was never about the wedding." That hit me. It was never about the surgery shift, never about the outage, never about the text delay. It was about her belief that feeling hurt gave her the right to break things. A few days later, I got an email from the victim services coordinator. She told me Kayla had tried to call me from jail. When the automated system told her I declined, she had a breakdown on the recorded line, yelling that Marilyn Monroe would have understood her. The coordinator also mentioned that 2 women had come forward, not men she dated but former friends. The first, Jessica, had been Kayla's roommate in Arizona before the ER doctor incident. When Jessica started dating someone Kayla did not like, she came home to find her laptop cracked on the floor. Kayla said she had bumped the table while doing yoga and it fell. Jessica did not really believe it, but she could not prove it, so she moved out. Reading about the trial made everything click. The second woman, Lauren, had been friends with Kayla in New Mexico. She missed Kayla's birthday party because of a family emergency. When she came home, her expensive makeup and several clothing items were ruined with bleach. Kayla said she had been cleaning and the bleach bottle fell near Lauren's things. Lauren knew it was not an accident, but Kayla made her feel guilty for not being there for her, so she let it go. Neither woman pressed charges at the time. Kayla had convinced them it was their fault. The prosecutor added their statements to Kayla's probation file. It showed that this behavior was not limited to boyfriends. Anyone who set a boundary, anyone who said no, risked losing something they owned. When someone punishes you for having a life outside of them, that is not love. That is control. As for me, life slowly moved forward. I moved out of that apartment 2 weeks after sentencing. Too many memories. Too many neighbors who had watched my pink car saga unfold. I found a 1-bedroom place closer to work. It felt like a fresh start. I got my car back from the body shop. It looked brand new with no trace of the paint. I threw myself into work and studying for my next certification. My friends checked in on me often. Kayla has about 11 months left on her sentence. I do not know what she will do after she gets out, but I do know I will never respond to any attempt she makes to contact me. The restraining order stays. I am keeping every document in a safe place. Recently, I ran into Dr. Benson at a coffee shop. Total coincidence. We ended up getting lunch. He told me he had gone on 2 dates since the trial. On the second date, he mentioned the Kayla story as a crazy ex situation. The woman he was seeing corrected him. "That is not a crazy ex," she said. "That is a criminal." Big difference. He said that helped him realize how much he had minimized what happened. He kept wondering if he should have been more available or should have checked his phone during surgery. "I was literally trying to save someone's life," he said. "It is wild to think I ever blamed myself for that." I understood that feeling, the self-blame, the what if I had just texted faster thoughts. The idea that if we had done one small thing differently, they would not have picked up the bat. Talking to him also made me think about how I will date again someday. Do I tell this story early? Do I wait? How do you explain my ex is in jail for felony vandalism without sounding like you attract chaos? His advice was simple. I just say I had to press charges against someone who destroyed my property. Most people understand. For now, I am focused on rebuilding, work, friendships, my own mental health. Out of curiosity, I looked up the origin of that Marilyn Monroe quote one more time. I found a fact-check article that traced it back to a 2011 relationship blog. The author never claimed Marilyn said it. Someone added her name to a graphic. It went viral, and the author later asked people to stop attributing it to her because it was creating this exact kind of toxic permission. It is almost poetic. Kayla built her entire personality around a quote that was not only fake, but that the real author eventually rejected because of how people were misusing it. Here are the lessons I took from all of this. Lesson 1. When someone breaks your things during arguments, even small things, that is not passion. That is a warning sign. Lesson 2. No quote, tattoo, or slogan gives anyone permission to hurt you or destroy your property. Aesthetic does not cancel accountability. Lesson 3. If you see the same pattern with past partners and friends, believe the pattern, not the excuses. You are not the exception. Lesson 4. Calling the police or pressing charges is not ruining someone's life when they chose to commit a crime. It is protecting yourself and others. Lesson 5. Real love does not demand that you ignore your job, your emergencies, or your boundaries to prove loyalty. Lesson 6. Mental health struggles are real, but they explain behavior. They do not excuse ongoing harm when someone refuses to get help. What about you? What would you have done in my place? Would you have pressed charges or walked away sooner? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know where your line would have been.